Thank you for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with Voice Matters, and my ever steady co-host Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hey, Karen, it's another wonderful week in the world of the PR pros. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. I'm doing really well, thank you. And
Good.
I'm so delighted to always join with you and record
Yay.
these episodes for our audience.
Yeah, it is really one of the bright spots of our week, and we hope for just for our listeners too, if we could just be a little self-indulgent. But when this episode is hitting, it is back to school season. And I don't care how old you are, it does really shift your mind into that mood of new shoes, new binders, just really another time of year where we can feel like it's a good time to make a fresh start. That energy is in the air of new things. And so we just thought we'd talk about today, ways we can take ourselves a little back to school. How can we stay sharp? How can we make sure that we are serving ourselves well so that we can continue to grow our business and serve our clients well? So yeah,
Yeah.
let's get into it.
I mean, also for back to school, for those parents in the audience, it's a
Yes.
little bit of a breath of fresh air, and you're probably exhaling because, it is difficult when the kids are off school. You have that extra responsibility of,
Yeah.
either shuffling them to activities or keeping them engaged, family vacations, which are fun things, but can we be honest? A family vacation is really not an adult vacation. It's work for
No.
parents, but you're making memories, so we see you. So yeah, back to school for you is
Yeah.
a little bit of a relief because you gain some time back and you can focus.
Yeah.
And you're
So
right, Michelle. There are these moments in the year that, really do make us feel like fresh start, let's go, renewed energy. And back to school time is one of those times of year.
yeah, and if anything, it's a great time to make a recommitment to your own professional development, right? Whether that's actually doing more than just skimming past those emails you sign up, I'm talking to myself, and actually reading them and, just staying sharp, or maybe looking ahead to 2025 and, really seeing, hey, what can I fit into my schedule and my budget, whether it's a day-long workshop, something you attend, virtually or in person, just getting out there amongst your peers in some way, shape, or form to make sure that we're staying on top of our skills. Not that we aren't, but we can always do a little more, I think.
I agree with you. And I think no matter how long you're in practice, it never hurts to even revisit the basics again and just, remind yourself, refresh yourself. You know, Sometimes I even revisit like grammar because we've been doing this for so long that it's ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And then you're confronted with something and you don't really know how to explain it anymore, why this is actually factually correct or grammatically correct, because your brain is just not, hasn't had to think about that.
Right.
So sometimes even just, reading Strunk and White again, or
Yeah.
taking a community college course on something. I love newsletters too. And, as you said, I filter all of my newsletters into an inbox and just to free my space. But there are periods in the week where I go and I will read a few.
Mhm.
And, some of them offer so much meat in terms of learning something that's outside of my comfort zone. But, let's be intentional about that going into the fall because we're in the year end. So really think about, what classes do I want to take this semester
Yes, right, right. Let,
and
let,
follow through on it.
let me meet with myself, my advisor, and discuss
Yeah.
that. And that's, something we've spoken about a lot here is really booking for ourselves that focus time, that executive time. That not only is it okay, I know sometimes you can get a little nervous thinking, no, I have always be billing, but no, we have to replenish ourselves and give ourselves time to just, do a little daydreaming about our business and our work. And, I don't care if you even do it as little as twice a month. Get it on your calendar and commit this time to yourself so that you can make sure you're replenished.
Yeah. I love, we have heard over and over and over again from some of the world's most successful people and successful leaders that a great deal of their time is really spent thinking. And I think that we have to keep that in mind, that the
Yeah.
bigger part of our job is reserving that time where we really can think. That's where you get to be creative. That's where you can see, new pathways and become innovative. But if you don't allow yourself time to think, then you're just doing. And that doesn't really serve our clients in the best way. And so I love setting aside study time, even if that's, just quiet time to just sit and think. For me, sometimes journaling is really important, and sometimes that's drawing and mapping out things or just writing thoughts. It really does help me to get into that mood of brainstorming. Or maybe for you, it's, sitting quietly listening to music, or maybe it's reading a book that inspires you and gets you thinking. But definitely, I feel like you need quiet time for that
Mhm. Yeah.
daily. You
Yeah.
really do. I mean, I get it. For some people, it's building up that habit. So maybe you start small and then just build on that habit. But daily time blocked out to yourself is really important to keep you sharp.
Yeah, definitely. And it does matter. I can't remember who the quote was, but I saw it this morning. Someone posted, everyone should spend 20 minutes a day in nature, an hour if you're busy. And it was that little push of like, oh yeah, okay.
There
You're
is nothing
right.
like fresh air clears the head, right? And,
Yeah.
at school, for children, they still give them outdoor time, right?
Yes, recess. It's
I'm
called
sorry.
recess.
Is it still called recess?
As far as I
Sorry.
know. Well, hey, I don't know. As far as I know it is.
I
Let us
do
know
not
if we're
have
wrong,
children in
listeners.
school, so forgive us if we have the wrong terminology or we're all wrong. However, for us, we need that playtime too.
Yeah.
When your kids come home from school, you make sure that they get to decompress from their day
Yeah.
too of taking in all the information. I mean, think about as a public relations pro, we take
Mm,
in so much information in the first couple of hours of our day. We're news scanning, we're reading emails, we're checking slacks, we're just bombarded with information. We have to check in on the world before
yeah,
we do our jobs, and then we have
we
to
do.
check in on our clients and our industries, and there's just tons of information.
Yeah.
So give yourself that time to decompress, either with little breaks throughout the day, or at the end of the day, make sure that you step away and do something that's replenishing. And I love that we encourage children to play. We should
Yeah.
play too. As adults, we're spending too much time adulting. Y'all, can we
Yes.
play? Can we
Yes,
just play sometimes?
it's
Do something
so
for
true.
sheer joy, fun. It does not have to make sense to anyone but you. I don't care what it is. Build yourself in some playtime.
So I challenge you, go to the dollar store and buy a bottle of bubbles and just blow some bubbles. If that's what it takes, let's do it. I have to
Let's
tell you,
do it.
I have been the queen of buying tickets to things and selling them on StubHub this summer. That has been my hobby reluctantly, just because it's like, well, this was a good idea in January, and sadly it's not working out. But I will say, last weekend, I made it to a show, caught up with a friend I literally have not seen since the last time we went to that show, a year ago.
Oh, wow.
And I could have talked myself out of it. We were both tired, but even those few hours together, I felt lighter the next day. So it is important.
Yeah.
And especially for us as solos, because like you say, we take in so much information. And I think of musicians who say that casually listening to music for them is difficult. I think for us, casually going through our world is difficult because
Yes.
we tend to, whether we like it or not, we can, really get into that habit of critiquing information. Like, oh, you couched it that way. Ooh, I would, it's like sometimes you just got to let it go.
That is a professional hazard. I know that we all share and no one gets it. We can't just see something and not go, ooh, missing a comma, ooh, typo, or, you know, misinformation.
Hmm.
So it's one reason why I have a off work strategy for social media. Otherwise, I'm going to spend all my time fact checking people, and
Yeah.
that's exhausting. Like I
Yes.
actually, my mind does need a break from,
Yeah.
and it's election season, so there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
People say the wildest things, and it's like if you would just do the tiniest bit of research for yourself, just the
Hmm.
tiniest bit of looking at different sources, or how about going to the horse's mouth? In many cases, people hear something that they think that a company said or somebody else said, and when you go directly to that source, you find out that's not quite true.
Right.
And when I see that stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's exhausting. So
It
I agree
is.
with you, Michelle. We do
Yeah.
have to learn to take those breaks and break
And it's
away.
hard. It's hard. It's hard because it's hard to tell yourself it is not my job to fix all of this.
Yeah. One other back to school activity, I am not a shopper, but for those who enjoy the occasional shop, I caught like 5 minutes of a news segment last week, and the reporter was like, I don't have kids. I go back to school shopping. And I thought, what a lovely idea to treat yourself to a refresh of your wardrobe during the
Ooh,
fall, which,
I like it.
we know that for all of us, male or female, a simple tweak to your look can infuse you with new energy, whether it's, a haircut, or, you got a beard and you shave, or you don't have one and you grow one, or you wear a color that you don't normally wear, or you wear a style of dress that you don't normally wear. And by dress, I mean type of clothing. So maybe you're not usually like a blazer person, male or female, and you throw one on, or you add,
Yeah.
a staple to your closet, or maybe you buy, one item that is, kind of new and trending, or change the type of shoes. Some little tweak
Yes. Oh
can
yeah.
really refresh. So think about that. I'm a work wardrobe kind of person where I have a uniform and I kind of stick to it. But it is fun to shake it up and think, okay, what's my uniform in the season? Let's think about what colors I want to wear, and, add something that's going to perk me up, because it's the little things in life
It is.
that keep us, excited. And I don't know about all of you, men and women, there was something special about those days that you went into an actual office with other people and somebody would say, nice haircut, or, oh
Yes.
my God, I love your shoes. Like that little compliment boosted your
Yeah.
day. So we don't have anyone except for cats, dogs, maybe, if you are,
Spouses.
yeah, spouses who may or may not
Those.
notice, kids who may or not, but there's not people in your actual office giving you the
Right.
compliment. So sometimes we have to create space to compliment ourselves and maybe do something like, spruce it up for yourself. So fall's a good time to do that.
No, I agree. I agree. It's fun to do that kind of thing too. And you're right. I mean, there's been few occasions where even just at the post office, someone will say, "Oh, I like X," and you're like, "Oh," and you realize how much you miss that. It's funny.
Yeah.
When I worked in an office, one of the things I used to dread was the "How is your weekend?" And I'm like, "Oh, great. I had to have a good weekend now. All right." I, I'm like, "Can we just get to it?" But there are elements of that I do. And you know
Yeah.
what I'll say? Here's one thing, because actually, I've been pretty fortunate. Most of the offices I had worked in, we laughed a lot. We got a lot done and we took it seriously, but we laughed a lot. And I've noticed, working solo, I don't laugh. I mean, that might be why I scroll on Instagram and look for stupid things that make me laugh. So do what you need to do, but don't
Yeah.
forget how important that is to you and your day and just
I
your mental
agree.
health.
I agree. Some of the things that, we thought like in corporate America, I took the extra chair out of my office so that when people would pop in, they wouldn't stay, that they would just stand up and tell me what they needed. But, as a
Yeah.
solo, sometimes you're like, it would be nice to have somebody pop in and just sit and chat for a few minutes. Like,
Yeah, right? I know. There are those niceties, but I guess along with that is usually then my mind goes to, well, Michelle, no one's chaining you to your chair for the 7.5 hours that you used to have to be chained to your chair for. You could get your stuff done and then call it a day, which do I know? Because I'm paranoid about, oh, well, what if
no
someone
one
needs
does.
something at 4:40? Yeah. So, we do have that freedom, even though we often
We don't
And you
always
might not make
exercise
it.
it, but
No, we don't. We don't. But there's that aspect of it too. But it's okay because that's the beauty of working the way that we do. We have these choices, and in that is everything. So we hope as if you have children heading back to school or if you see the school buses whizzing by and it just, evokes a certain time in your life or just hopefully invokes a new fresh era of the year. Let's end this year well and not just well for your bottom line, but for yourself. So if you enjoyed this episode, please do share it around. We would love that. If you have some back to school tips, please tell us at soloprpro.com. We want to share them on a future episode. So please, please, please hit us up. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.